In this video, we are going to learn a skill that is so important it can save you hours and hours of work and a lot of headaches. We are talking about making sure you are solving the right problem. We are going to explore how to avoid the common traps and make sure the work you are doing has a real lasting impact. Have you ever poured your heart and soul into a project, built this brilliant, elegant solution, only to watch it land with a thud because it didn't actually fix the real issue? It's the worst feeling, and it all starts with a trap that is incredibly easy to fall into. It's what we call the just build it trap. It's that impulse to immediately start designing and coding the minute a request comes in, without taking that one essential step back to really understand the intent behind it. And when we do this, we get really, really good at building the wrong thing. We end up creating features that look impressive but are totally ineffective because they don't address what truly matters to the user or to the business. So, how do we avoid this? It all starts with a really simple but profound shift in your mindset. It's about learning to see the difference between what's being asked for and what's actually needed. Here is an example. Imagine this. You have been asked to develop a dashboard in order to track customer churn. Seems like a totally reasonable request, right? But hold on. Here's the game changing question you have to ask. What is the real goal here? Is it to track churn or is it to reduce churn? That one little shift in perspective, it changes absolutely everything. And this just illustrates the point perfectly. A dashboard at the end of the day is just a tool for looking at a problem. It doesn't solve it. By focusing on the real problem, reducing churn, the team's whole approach shifts. They might discover the best solution is actually improving the support team's workflow or maybe fixing a few key bugs, things that a dashboard would never ever do on its own. So the key takeaway is right there. Always distinguish the requested output and the desired outcome. So we have established how important it is to find the real problem. Now let's add another layer to it. It is also critical to understand that problems exist in a sort of hierarchy. There is a main problem. To address it, the system is divided into subproblems, each with its own goals. And these are further divided into smaller parts and so on. Our solutions have to align with the right level of that hierarchy to actually work. Let's imagine we are building a food delivery platform. At the very top is the core problem the entire system is there to solve. And that problem is get food to people fast and reliably. Everything else has to serve this one main goal. One level down the chain, we run into another problem, a sub-problem. How do we assign delivery partners to orders in the most efficient way possible? You can see how it directly supports that primary goal of being fast and reliable. And now, let's zoom in even further. A tiny piece of that whole puzzle is optimizing the driving route for just one single delivery. But here's the danger. If you get obsessed with making that one route absolutely perfect, you might actually make the whole system worse for everyone else. Maybe you ignore fairness or overall driver availability. You can't just optimize one small part at the expense of the whole system. So the insight here is to always ask yourself, what level of problem am I actually solving? How does it serve the level right above it and below it? And am I optimizing a part at the cost of the whole? This whole idea of keeping your eye on the bigger picture leads us perfectly into our next concept, the difference between just treating a symptom and actually curing the disease. In engineering, we call it fixing the root cause. Think of it this way. A symptom is the fire alarm that is blaring in your ear. It's loud, it's annoying, it gets all the attention. But the root cause, that's the actual fire that is setting it off. And having strong technical judgment is all about having the curiosity and the discipline to go and find that fire. Here is a textbook example. Users start complaining about file uploads timing out. That's the symptom. The quick fix, the easy thing to do is to just increase the timeout limit. but that's basically just hitting the snooze button. A deeper look reveals the real cause. The system is processing these files one by one sequentially, creating a massive bottleneck. The real solution, the one that actually fixes things, is to redesign the system for asynchronous processing. And this is the core idea right here. When you fix symptoms, you only make the noise go away for a little while. But when you find and fix the root cause, you solve the problem for good and make sure it never comes back. Now that we have talked about getting to the root of the problem, let's talk about another key part of problem framing: embracing constraints. I know it sounds a little counterintuitive, but things like time and budget and tech limitations, these can actually be your secret weapon for creating practical focused solutions. Imagine this: a team is asked to build a real time collaboration feature in their document editor. Sounds cool, right? But here is the catch: they are very real boundaries. They only have 3 engineers. They have a very tight 8 weeks deadline. They are stuck with a legacy system that can't support the ideal design. But here is the interesting part: the data shows 90% of the users don't even work at the same time, anyways. So, instead of chasing this beautiful, technically elegant, but totally impossible dream, those constraints force them to reframe the problem. The goal isn't to build a technically complex real time feature. No, the goal, the real user problem, is much simpler. Just stop people from accidentally overriding each other's work. So, by respecting those boundaries, the team built something much simpler. They use things like document locking, version history, and conflict notifications. It wasn't a fancy system, but you know what? It worked. It launched on time and it solved the actual user issue. This is a powerful lesson. Let your constraints clarify the problem you actually need to solve. So, finally, let's pull all of this together. Every single one of these ideas points to one powerful conclusion. That time you spend upfront thinking, questioning, and framing the problem correctly, that is not a delay. It's not a waste. It's the single most important investment you can make to ensure that what you build is effective, impactful, and that it actually works. It's the foundation for everything that comes after. And I'll leave you with this really powerful idea. If you want to build better solutions, you first have to define better problems. So I'll ask you this: when the next time a request lands on your desk, what's the first question you are going to ask?